Greetings, Guzzlers. We're going to do a little quickie today because, to be honest, this is from Ed Kimber, the boy bakes, and literally I saw this recipe, it just released it as such on Instagram, I think, and I thought, oh, I'm going to give that a go. So if you want to know the quantities and everything else, because I'm just going to skip through it, then you'll have to check out his website or whatever. Okay, we're going to make his chocolate swirl peppermint marshmallow, depending how you pronounce it. So I've got about 8-inch square tin. I've greased so that the paper sticks in there, lined it with some paper, give it a bit of a dusting with some icing sugar. Okay, and we're just going to put that to one side, and in this saucepan I've got some liquid glucose. But before I start doing anything with that, I need some gelatin sheets, and I've got some ice cold water there, and I'm just going to slip them sheets in there. Like the way it's really difficult to count these because they stick together. Next little bit. So that is just going to soak. So I'm just going to put that to one side to soak. I need to get them under the water. There we go. And then I've got some liquid glucose in there. I've got some water. I'm going to add that water. I've got some dark chocolate melted down, because remember we said it's a chocolate swirl peppermint. I've got some peppermint extract there. I've got some egg whites. I've got to temperature gun, because now into that I'm going to add some caster sugar, and then we're just going to heat that up until it gets to about 120. So while that's heating up to 120, I've got 2 egg whites there, and I'm just going to whisk these up until nice and light and fluffy, start to form some peaks. Okay, because we'll be wanting to put that into there when that's at temperature. So that's up at temperature. So what I'm going to do, carry on whisking the egg and gradually whisk this in. So it's going nice and glossy. At this point I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of peppermint extract, or peppermint flavour, and I'm now just going to whisk that in. Now in the pan that I had the sugar in, I'm going to take out or rather into the pan that I've had the sugar in, I'm going to put the gelatin, which I'm just taking out of the water. Just squeeze out all that water and then put that in there, and there should be enough heat left in that pan to melt that down. And when that is melted, we're going to whisk it into that. Should only take a minute or so just to get that all thoroughly blended in there once that's melted down. And then all you're going to need is your pan and your melted chocolate. But we'll wait till I've got that mixed in there, and I'll show you what we do after that's whisked in. So now I'm going to add about 1/3 of that mixture, and to be honest, it is very reminiscent of, you know, when you're toasting marshmallows. Might need to put a little bit more in there, I think. You're toasting marshmallows and you just overdo it and it goes very runny. Now I'm going to take that melted chocolate and just going to drizzle half of it over the top, and then with a cocktail stick I'm just going to swirl it about just to create some swirls in there. So now we spread another layer. My tin's slightly bigger than what he recommends, so I'm finding it's not going in as quite as thickly as would be ideal. But what we do is spread that next layer on top and then add the remaining chocolate to that and swirl that. Now actually what I'm going to do, given that it isn't a very thick layer, Ed will tell you to do that second third, add chocolate, swirl it, and then add the final third on top to get a plain layer. But to be honest, it's not really going to work, so I'm just going to do the 2 layers. I'm going to add the rest of the chocolate as top layer. It's not going to have a plain one on top. And then all we're going to do is set it aside for at least 6 hours. This is my marshmallow out of the fridge. It's been chilling in there for a bit. Not sure it's quite set yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice it into some chunks, and then I've got a bowl here with some icing sugar in, and what I'm going to do is just lightly coat it in that so that it doesn't stick to everything. So there we go. I've been a bit over generous with the icing sugar on it, mainly because I just didn't want it all sticking together. But here's a dinky little bit. Very minty, as you'd expect. In fact, if you don't like the mint, cut back on how much mint you put in it. I like that minty. That's really nice. Very soft marshmallow. But what's quite nice is some of that chocolate that drizzled in there has hardened, and you get these little lumps of chocolate. But Ed, that's certainly a winner. So like I said, this was a very recent recipe posted up by Ed Kimber, Boy Who Bakes, for a chocolate swirl peppermint marshmallow. Well worth making, definitely. Not sure how long that's going to last, because I like it.